People will beat you down. Hello everyone, Shane here, and welcome back to Asoareo Extras. And now before this video to start, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and share as a way to support the channel. And I do want to say, first and foremost, before we do get into this video, I am super sorry that I have not made these type of videos in a little while. It's just, I've been brainstorming these type of videos for a little while, and I couldn't exactly pinpoint what type of video I wanted to make in this kind of fashion because I had so many. But I think this one is the one that needs to be said and made. So, topic of the video: people will beat you down. Honestly, throughout my whole life, I have been made fun of. And that's not me exaggerating. And I know a lot of people will say that in videos, or even other people will say that stuff. I mean it when I say that. I have been made fun of my whole life. I've been made a laughingstock my whole life, I feel like. Like in elementary school, I feel like I was always looked down on. I was always the laughingstock. I remember like people always looked down upon me, and especially since I was like the short kid, I was also the kid that was like I was very open as a kid. People just looked at me differently, so I was just like kind of like the laughing stock and stuff like that. So I was always kind of picked on, even leading into middle school as well. I remember when middle school started, I remember everyone, for some reason, because I wore a hoodie, people thought I was a threat. It was kind of funny, looking back on it, it's kind of funny, but like now, like back then, it wasn't funny though. And that shit generally hurt me. Those things generally hurt me, and it wasn't fun. Being looked down upon, or even nowadays being looked down upon. I feel like even recently, throughout this whole year, I've been looked down upon because I make a certain decision, someone doesn't agree with it, or just like or maybe jealousy too. Because I've had people where I will not talk to someone for a little bit, and they'll come back to me just seeming just different, and they don't like me anymore or something, and it's just entirely odd, and it doesn't seem right. Throughout this whole channel's lifespan, pretty much up until today, where I will end it in this video, I basically have been talking about a whole situation with my best friend of 6 years, where it was a whole shitty situation and it was going badly. But in my last video, Respect is Key, I pretty much said that was gonna be the last video, but it wasn't, because about a month later after that video, things came out about them talking shit behind my back and things like that, and it generally hurt my feelings. It really did, because I really respected this person. I really felt like attached to this person. So to just know that they did that to me, to know that they looked at me differently, to know that they didn't care about me, really, it just upset me. It really beat me down. It really just diminished my whole mood, and it just almost turned me into a whole different person, and I didn't want that. And I almost did turn to a whole different person for like a week, until people snapped me out of it, because I became like rageful and stuff like that because of it, because I just felt like people were turning their backs. I felt like people were just not taking me seriously. And even nowadays too, I feel like people don't take me seriously and things like that. And thankfully I was able to be snapped out of it, because like I said before, I was becoming rageful. I was becoming like I just didn't care anymore. And like if I was put in a situation where like a decision had to be made, I do whatever I felt was needed, even if it wasn't the right decision at the time. And I feel bad for it, I really do. But just for someone like me, for someone who is kind, tries their best to please everyone, when I know you really can't, but I try my best to, for I don't know why, and I just try to be like an oddball out of society, where I just try to be the most kind person I can. But for people like me who do that type of stuff, like who are just trying to be nice and try to be like a bright light in a dark crowd, it doesn't work, because there's majority over one. A lot of the people nowadays are just negative as hell. A lot of people just do not care what happens to them or people around them and things like that. And it just sucks, because then we're the ones that get beat down, and we're the ones that are looked down upon, and we're the ones that are like, oh well, you don't really mean what you say. You you don't really mean being kind and all. You're just doing like a facade. And it's like, that's not the case. I really do care about people, especially people really close to me. And I try my best to even help random people too. Like I go to the gas station, I'll open doors for people and stuff like that. Like people I don't even know. Like if someone's just coming out of their car across from the gas station at their pump, I will sit there at the door waiting for them to come in, because I want to be nice. I try my my damnedest to try to be as kind as I can, but people just seem to, one, never take me seriously, or two, just seem to always find some reason to shit on me. And that's a society as well nowadays. Anyone will find a reason to shit on you, and it's dumb. It really is, and it's horrible. Like you can do like the smallest thing possible, and people will find a reason to shit on you, and it makes zero sense. At least I'm honest, man. And I feel like it's just pitiful. And I feel like majority of the reason why people do this type of shit is because they see themselves in you a little bit, or like they see what they could become in you, so they try dragging you, or like they see how good you're doing compared to them, so they try dragging you down. I just said like 3 different variants of that, but they all work. All of those can work. All of those are reasons people do that stuff. But the main one that people see that you're doing better than them, or somewhere on those lines, so they try beating you down to their level so that they can surpass you. And never let that happen. Just never let that happen, because if you do that, then you're gonna be a laughing stock to them. Like, you're already a laughing stock to them, like in their mind, because they're jealous of you. But never let someone knock you down to their level. Never do that, because the minute you do that, it's just free for all, and it's just not gonna end well for either of you. It's best to just stick in your lane, be the person you are, and keep being the person you are. And like after the whole situation with my best friend, like, how bad I wanted to just like pretty much crash out and just let shit rip. But I didn't do it, because it just wasn't worth it. So like people are just not worth it sometimes, like like that's just what I think anyways. Like, people are just not worth it sometimes, and that it wasn't worth it to me to do all that shit. Like, I had better things to do. I was just getting YouTube back up and running again. I got my motivation back after being beat down so many times. And I feel like even this whole year, I've had so many situations this year where I've been beaten down by people, and people just seem to just have an issue with me or something, and I've just lost people because of it. And so in that, I figured out as well, I'm just a type of person where someone will just beat me, like someone can just beat me down, but then I'll just stand right back up, because that's just the type of person I am. I don't care how much you beat me down. You may not see it. I'm gonna get right back up, and you may not see it, but I'm gonna be just as better than ever as soon as you beat me down. And you beat me down, I'll come back stronger than ever. That's the way it is. And some people may think that's corny to say, but that's just the way it is. That's the way I am. And in that, people just let off, because they know that you're not gonna back down, and that's all people want to do nowadays too. Is just to drag you down to their level. And if you're someone like me, someone who always finds a reason to get back up, you'll never be dragged down to their level. And it's best not to. It's best not to listen to the hatred. It's best not to listen to the pitifulness from people who just can't seem to pick themselves up. It's best not to let people make you think that you're less than what you are, because you are more than what even you think you are. And going back on the topic earlier I was talking about too, man, like my whole life I have been looked down upon. My whole life I feel like I have been made fun of. My whole life I feel like people looked at me as just a joke, or people had just looked at me as just so much littler than them, or just below them. But yet I can see a lot of the people nowadays just respect me who did it back then. And in some ways, I just don't care, because it's like, well, I never cared in the first place. And I'm a person who always tries to just let that stuff go, or I'm always a person that tries to ignore it. But people can say what they want to say, but no one can ignore hatred. No one can ignore someone making fun of them. No one can ignore that stuff. This isn't human nature to take offense to it. This isn't human nature to notice it and not feel good about it, because it's not good to have people look down upon you or make fun of you. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't make you feel like you deserve to be there or belong. And for me to be almost having that my whole life, just until like beginning of like, I don't know, like 3 years ago, where I stopped being treated like that. And even so nowadays I still get treated like that sometimes, but I've come to show people that I'm not who you think I am. I'm not just someone who is just gonna let you step on me just because you think you can. Just because I'm kind doesn't mean you can step on me. And that's a big misinterpretation people get from someone like me, as someone who's willing to do things for other people and help people out, and someone who's kind to people. Under all of that, if you dig deep enough and you really piss me off enough, or you really try to get at me enough, then you'll understand that, yeah, I can be mean. I can not be so nice, because, well, that's just every human. And only in certain moments does that happen, because I really try my hardest to this not let that come out. But majority of the time, sometimes it does, sadly, but I try my best not to let it come out. But sometimes, man, people just, like some people just get at you, like sometimes it just gets to you, and you're like, damn, I gotta just back away, or you just gotta stand up for yourself. And then that's just what you gotta do, regardless of you want to be a kind person or not. Sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself. Someone's trying to drag you down to a level or something, you gotta just stand up for yourself, and that's the best way to do it. I get a message of the video is, even if people are beating you down, even if people are looking down upon you, even if people are making fun of you, even if people think that you're below them, rise above that. You don't have to use that as fuel. or anything, just use that. Just use those 4 components and use that, and think of those things whenever you need to do something. Use that and be like, I gotta do this now because people think that I'm below them and stuff like that. You gotta rise above that. Do not let people beat you down. Do not let people put you down to their level, because the minute you do that, you'll become just as like them, and you don't want that. Because some people just live to beat people down. Some people, and it's sad to say that, some people just live on this earth to do that shit. And it's pitiful. It really is. It's sad, really, to say that, but some people do. And you know, the minute you rise above that, the minute you ignore it, the minute you just rise above that, they will be in the same spot, but you'll be higher up on the ladder than they will be. But yeah, it's been Shane, guys. Be humble, be kind. There's a new community section on my channel now and on my main channel where you can actually post your own video ideas, or just post on something like an image, like a funny image, and be like, or even start a conversation over there too. You can do that too, or you know, just things like that. You can go do that over in my community section. And also, if you would like to join the Discord, the community Discord, make sure to go down inside of the description below. But yeah, it's been Shane, guys. Be humble, be kind, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.